Welcome to the Wisconsin Paper Council's podcast, The Paper Files, where we explore the pulp and paper industry here in Wisconsin. I'm Michaela Chafin, Communications and Development Analyst here at WPC, and joining me today is Gretchen Marshall, Forestry and Outdoor Education Specialist at LEAF. And first of all, thank you for joining me. And can you tell me more about LEAF, who it serves, and more about what LEAF is?
I'd be happy to. Thank you so much for inviting me and the opportunity to talk about LEAF a little bit on this platform. So LEAF is Wisconsin's K through 12 forestry education program. LEAF is a partnership program with the Wisconsin DNR Division of Forestry that focuses on providing training and resources to K through 12 teachers to support forestry education in Wisconsin. We're kind of a unique program in that we're a partnership with the Wisconsin DNR Division of Forestry, but also that we're housed within the Wisconsin Center for Environmental Education, which is an outreach center within the College of Natural Resources at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, which is a really great partnership because we get to do forestry education, but also outreach to the entire state. And essentially, LEAF was created back in 2001 to promote forestry education in Wisconsin schools. What many stakeholders were starting to notice at that time is that students had a really great understanding of global forests and deforestation. They knew a lot about our rainforests, but they did not know much about Wisconsin's forests. And so the purpose of LEAF was really to create a program that provided tools and resources, lessons, forestry materials to educate students about the forests in their own backyards. And that includes both rural and urban forests in Wisconsin.
And how would you say, because there are some similar education programs in Wisconsin, but how would you say that yours differs from, say, like Trees for Tomorrow or other programs that DNR might have?
One of the really great and unique things about Wisconsin and our long forest legacy is that we have multiple forestry education programs that each really focus on a specific niche. LEAF's niche is teachers, and our mission, our vision, our focus is to help educate both formal and non-formal educators so that they can then in turn help and educate students. Trees for Tomorrow is fantastic. They're a partner of ours as well, and they specifically deal with students for the most part, a little bit of teacher professional development, and we support each other. So LEAF's vision is that if we can reach teachers through professional development and some of our other outreach efforts, that those teachers then in turn can have a longer lasting impact on their students year after year after year versus us being a small staff being only able to reach a certain number of students every year. It's a much greater impact and statewide effort outreach. And we do that through a few different ways, through the lessons, our lesson guides and forestry activities that we have available online. We have kits that we loan out to teachers all over the state so that they have hands-on tools that are available to do those lessons with. We do a lot of teacher professional development so that we can make sure that those teachers understand the forestry content and then how to teach it to their students. And then we also coordinate multiple statewide programs, such as the School Forest Program, Project Learning Tree, which is actually a national program, but we coordinate the Wisconsin Project Learning Tree through LEAF, and then also efforts on school grounds to help students step right outside the doors and learn about the trees and the urban forests that surround their school site.
So when you say teachers, do you typically work with a certain teacher like with ag, or can you incorporate math or English in with that education?
So we work with all teachers, and that's one of the really fun and unique things about LEAF is that we truly see the forest as an outdoor classroom where it can serve as a catalyst and a context for learning for all ages and all subjects. Forests serve as a great place to learn in and about Wisconsin's forests, but then they're also relevant to all other subject areas. And so, yes, we definitely want teachers to be teaching about forests and forestry when they're outside, but we also help teachers, and we know and we understand the constraints that teachers are in their classroom and with their curriculum. And so we really work with some of those other content areas, such as social studies or Ed, music, language arts, to figure out how they can integrate taking their students outside to learn some of the things that are already a part of the curriculum and just expand it into that outdoor classroom.
How would you describe the programs or the skills that students will be learning from these educational programs?
So it really varies, and it runs the full scale of everything from forest ecology to learning about the forest itself. It travels through the whole process of sustainable management, from planting that tree, helping students understand why managing that land and managing that forest is important, to, that tree is a renewable resource and that we harvest timber in Wisconsin, and then how that tree turns into the wood products that we use every day. And so, depending on the level of the student that you're working with, that's going to look very different for, a kindergarten, early elementary student compared to, yes, one of those high school students where we do work very closely with some of the ag teachers that teach a full forestry class. We help partner them with people in the industry that can also help add value to that content and that curriculum. But it really does take a look at all aspects of forestry, forest health, forest products, so on and so forth. Urban forestry, like I mentioned before, we have a big task, and we kind of look at what that teacher needs and what some of their questions are, and then figure out kind of the best situation for that as well.
Thank you. And you mentioned wood products, and Wisconsin is, of course, a big forest products producer, the number one paper making state. How would you say that Leaf is tailored for Wisconsin, especially with Wisconsin being such a big part of the forest products industry?
So one of the things when Leaf was originally created was that there was going to be this very intentional focus on Wisconsin forestry. And what has been really unique over the years is the dedication to partnerships that we've been able to create and maintain in the state. And there's no way that Leaf can work in isolation. And so having partners in the state help us develop lessons. We have a forest products kit. Actually, there's numerous of them housed throughout the state that was made possible because Leaf kind of takes a look at the need. We have a need for incorporating forest products and forest products education, but we need to partner with the experts in the industry that can help make that happen. And so that's one of the ways that that kit was developed. And so we are constantly looking for ways to strengthen that, to get more of that content information into the hands of especially our high school teachers that may teach a very focused lesson on that. And then just kind of really taking a look at what's missing, what the gaps are, and what is available to offer.
And what would help you from industry partners or even from educators? What would be easy for them to provide to you all that would assist with that education?
It's the resources and the expertise. So we are unique staff here in the center in that we have varied backgrounds and we have a lot of experience in education and a variety of natural resources backgrounds. But when it comes to those specific content areas, one of the strengths of the program, as I mentioned, is the partnerships. And one of the things we're always looking for from our partners is if we see a need in the state for something else, from one of the teachers or from, our teacher audience, being able to have partners to reach out to verify lessons, to help us develop resources is a huge bonus. And then the flip side of that, if the industry notices that there are gaps in what's available to teachers, please let us know so that we can work in a partnership to make that happen. So yeah, definitely both ways. So we need experts for content, the current status and trends that's going on right now. But then the flip side as well is that please let us know if we can help reach out to the educators with the resources and information you want them to have.
I've noticed you've talked a lot about kind of the interweb that's across Wisconsin of partners and educators and industry partners. And I also read the write-up by Amanda Bryan, a part-time lecturer at the Scottish School of Forestry, who I believe visited Wisconsin and Michigan in the past few years and had a write-up about forestry education to take back to Scotland. And of course, LEAF was discussed in that article, and I'm interested in knowing how Wisconsin is different from the rest of the world or even on a national basis. What are we doing in terms of forestry education that may be different from other states or countries?
Yeah, it was wonderful to have her here. That was just about a year ago that she came, and we were able to set up a whole host of different sites for her to visit. And the really unique and proud thing that Wisconsin has going for it is how, because of the statewide forestry education effort, you can actually see it being exhibited all across the state. Our school forest program is coming upon its centennial, and that it was started in our first school forests were registered in 1928. We have teachers incorporating forestry into their lessons, and we do have this really unique partnership in Wisconsin in which we have these stakeholders that have partnered with education because they do see it's important. And I would say that Wisconsin is definitely a leader in so many areas. It was neat to be able to set up that trip for her to reach out to our audience and ask who would like to host her and have so many people for her to visit and talk to. Along those lines, too, I will also say that it's always a work in progress, that while we have numerous successes in this state, we still have a long ways to go in educating our new teachers that are coming through, in changeover in staff, in changeover in perspectives, and that there is still a great amount of work to be done. But it's also really neat to look back and see how far we've come. And Leona has the great historical marker for being recognized as the first school forest in the state. Since then, more school forests have been added. We still add and register new properties every year. There are approximately 250 some schools or districts with school forests, and that totals actually over 430 school forest parcels in the state. So
Wow.
some districts have multiple parcels, and that happens in different ways, from school consolidations or being fortunate to have extra land that they can register. And our school forests kind of stand on two foundational pillars. One is education. We want students to be learning about forests and forestry and other subjects out at their school forests, and sustainable forest management. So one of the benefits of the program that they do receive when registering is the services of a local DNR forester that covers that service area for creating that management plan, and then helping keep that forest healthy over the years, and whatever that management plan would call for, prescription, so on and so forth. Then they basically also receive the services through LEAF for educational support or any questions that they have. We kind of serve as a helpline. The unique thing about school forests is that no two school forests are alike in the state. In coming into this position, it was one of the biggest eye openers for me that while all school forests fall under this criteria of educational use and management, they're all different sizes. School forests need to be at least 1 acre of forest in order to register. And we do have our smallest at 1 acre, and our largest is over 700 acres of continuous forest. And so if you can think about, the different educational offerings that can take place at those. Some are right next to the school, adjacent to the building. Others you have to bus a half an hour to. And then you have the district and what they're able to do with students, what teachers are able to do with students, what they can put on their land for facilities or trails. So they're all very unique. So I know it's not any two are the same, but they're also unique and individual, and they are run by their district, but they get the support of us through the statewide program, through LEAF.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. I didn't realize the vastness of what a
Hmm.
school forest could be.
And
So
it really is a testament to Wisconsin. Both Minnesota and Michigan also have school forest programs. They're run very differently than how we run the program in Wisconsin. And one thing that's really unique too about Wisconsin's school forest program is that they are a part of the Wisconsin Community Forest Law. So the Community
mm,
Forest Law allows cities, towns, and villages to register forest property for management and timber use. And then school forests are a subset of that. So a school forest has to be owned or under the control of a school district. And so they're a subset of that community forest law, which is unique to Wisconsin.
and so when you mentioned sustainable forest management, and of course there's also the other parts of the education, is sort of the end goal for some of these K through 12 students to grow up just to manage their land sustainably, or is there a career path in mind for them?
I would say both. So we know that in order for students to become good stewards of our forests and the land that they either live on and own, and whether that is a small parcel in an urban setting, or if they're fortunate enough to have a larger rural parcel, if they don't understand Wisconsin's forests or what it takes to manage them or why they're important, that is never going to factor into their stewardships as citizens as they grow and become active members of society. So, one of the premises of the LEAF program is to help develop that. And it's through the various ways that we've talked about, but it really does start with raising that awareness of the forest. It is part of them being comfortable in that, but then it also leads to what opportunities can they find themselves in, and developing skills, and hopefully and eventually connecting with partners and people that understand that these career opportunities are there. So whether or not they become a landowner, or they are able to understand and realize that there's a vast diversity of careers in the forestry world for them, um, that's what we're hoping um, that they will eventually develop into someday.
What would you say has been some of the most rewarding or one of the most rewarding or inspiring outcomes you've seen from educators who have participated in LEAF?
That's a great question, and it's actually one that's kind of hard to answer because there's so many opportunities to choose from. I would say, quite honestly, one of the most rewarding things that I encounter is when people thank us for simply having a lesson available that they needed, or being able to answer a question. One of the things that makes Leaf really unique is that we're real people here to help you and help answer questions for teachers, or connect and be a conduit. It's also great to look back and see how those teachers implement things. Again, kind of what I referred to before is, even if it's just one teacher who now is incorporating forestry lessons into their classroom, and that teacher is there, for decades of their career, and to see how many people, or how many students, I should say, then get exposed to that forestry content and information. And then you have teachers like the Winneconne School Forest. They saw the school forest program as something unique, and they did not have one. They were able to get land. They register or were given land, registered the land. They went through planning efforts that we can take school forest programs through. They now have a staff member that focuses on the school forest and field trips, and they have turned around and in turn showcased their school forest without the help of LEAF anymore, because they're doing it on their own to other teachers and schools in the state. And so you kind of see this progression where we as LEAF are able to provide them with resources. We're able to be that support mechanism, and then kind of turn and watch them fly. Um, Another one that's been really fun to be a part of lately is back to Leona. I mentioned before that they were the first school forest in the state. They when you work with schools, you notice a lot of ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and that really depends on the timing, the staff members that are there, the resources that are available. And Leona has kind of been like that over the years. And right now, there's another renewed interest in there. They are doing a lot of work with school personnel and community partners to re-energize and redevelop their program. So it's really neat to see new things coming through all the time, being able to help new people get their start, new districts, new school forests, educators that want to do this, that are unsure about how to do that. And then also on the other end of the spectrum, work with some of these school forest veterans, these forestry education teachers that have been doing it a really long time, and be challenged to be creative with them to provide new content and new material so they can continue to expand what they offer.
It sounds like Leaf has got a really great network of educators and people inspiring the next generations. So, what would you say is the best way for people to learn more about Leaf? Is it through social media? Is it your website?
I would there are two ways that if people are interested in Leaf and our resources, that you can stay connected. Yes, we do have social media. The other one, though, is our newsletter. We produce a monthly electronic newsletter called the Leaflet, and you can sign up for it through the website. And our website is www.leafprogram.org. And that monthly newsletter, we try to focus on a content area. We're really focused on getting teachers the resources and the information that they can use in the classroom to bolster what they're already doing. So there's lessons, there's all of our professional development opportunities are listed in there every month, what's new and upcoming. The Leaf website itself is a great portal of information. Again, that's where all of our lessons, our K through 12 lessons are stored. We have lesson band guides for grade levels, kindergarten through 12th grade, that focus on regular forestry education. And then there are two pull-out supplemental guides for urban forestry and wildland fire. And then various other teaching resources in there as well. It's where you can go to find out about the kits. So it really is this, we use our website as more of an outward facing resource for teachers and educators, both formal and non-formal, our stakeholders, so that if they are looking for a resource, they can easily find it. And if not, definitely call us and we can help you walk through what's there and figure out what is most relevant for you. So I would say those are probably two of the biggest resources. And then, like I said, call us if you have questions, or yes, our social media is also out there as well.
Are there any upcoming projects that the people of Wisconsin should know?
So I mentioned that we're coming upon the centennial of the school forest program, so you can look for some planning and some things that we'll be rolling out to start to celebrate that. The official celebration is going to happen during the 2027-28 school year. But leading up to that, we've already started a project for seed collection in the state. And what we have been looking at is, again, we talked about the start of school forests was planting these trees that have grown up. They've, been harvested, and timber harvest is a regular part of many of our school forest programs. And one of the benefits that schools also receive for being a registered school forest are free seedlings from the DNR nursery. So to kind of combine those things together, we've started a seed collection effort at school forests across the state. You're going to see promotion coming out about that and education about that this spring, and coming summer, we'll be hosting a seed collection workshop in July to teach educators the proper way to collect seeds and the proper types of trees and seeds, because as we know, not all seeds are viable. There's a lot that goes into properly collecting seeds. These seeds then can be sold back to the DNR nursery, go into their stock, and the actual goal is to have school forest seedlings that go into the stock mix at the DNR nursery replanted in school forests around the centennial. The other big thing that you can kind of look for is help and work that we're doing right now in the Workforce Development Initiative for forestry careers. And we've known for a long time that there has been the workforce shortage in the forest industry, and we're working with some great partners right now. And this is again where if others in the industry are able to help out, really taking a look at the vast diversity of careers available, and then looking at how to help students get that information, not only when they're high schoolers and ready to graduate and go into the workforce, but how can we look back earlier into their, elementary education years, middle school years, to start figuring out and giving them resources available that can kind of let them know about these other opportunities available. And then again, like I said, partnering with other entities in the state, like the Wisconsin Forestry Center and the Workforce Development Initiative happening there. So that would be the other one. There's a very big focus on career pathways and helping students understand some of the different content and things that they need to know and have an awareness of the vastness of diversity of careers available so that we can start helping in this initiative.
That sounds like a great opportunity for the industry to come
Mm-hmm.
in, showcase the gaps, and help fill in that information. So we will definitely put a link in the description of the video. That way, people know who to contact, the website, in case they are interested in interacting with that or any of the other LEAF programs.
That sounds great.
So. Well, thank you again for joining me today. And of course, the link will be in the description for people who want to learn more. And have a great rest of your day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.